Welcome to the channel. I'm Stacy, and my goal here is to help you to play better and sound better in your worship services. Today we're going to go over the tones for the song Gratitude by Brandon Lake. On the cover video, I used a dual amp setup that I call the CaliTweed. It's a Cali Texas Channel 1 and a Grammatico LG Bright. That's going to be a black panel Fender paired up with a Tweed Deluxe, and they sound great together. And then the signal chain on the Stomp is the effects loop with the Jet Eternity delay and Revelation reverb, and I'm using the analog delay and the shimmer reverb. That's going into a low-high shelf to just kind of bump some dynamics. And then we have the CaliTweed with its 1x12 cab, and then the LG Bright, Grammatico LG Bright with its 1x12 cab. And then the simple EQ at the end of the chain to bump that holy mid-range. On the board, I'm running my Boss CS3 compressor is on the whole time. And then I'm kicking on the Carbon by Browne amplification for the lift in the bridge, and then the ODR-1 for kind of that lead part. And then I kick on the Flashback by TC Electronic for the oscillation. And I have that loaded with, what do they call those? Tone print. And this one's by Andy, the Andy Demos. He used to be with Pro Guitar Shop, and back then he did a ton of these tone prints, and it's from a Deluxe Memory Man. And it sounds great. It does that oscillation thing just like I was hoping. And so I kicked that on for the when the chorus goes out right before the bridge, and then also just for the outro of the song. The song-specific preset is built on the Cali Texas Channel 1, and I have two different sets. So if you do buy this, you're going to get 4 different presets, 2 dialed for single coils and 2 dialed for humbuckers, the single coils and filtertrons. And the difference is one of them has 2 overdrives, so able to emulate what I was able to do for the bridge parts, building that into kicking on the 1 overdrive for the lift in the bridge, and then the 2nd overdrive for the lead part. That preset with 2 drives has that option. And then there's one with 2 delays, and you only have 1 drive, so you'll want to build that dynamic a little bit different. It's a nice gainy drive. So if you use your middle position on a 2 pickup guitar, and then drop it down to the bridge for that first lift, and then kick on the overdrive for the lead part, that would work. And then we have those 2 delays, and I've got the mod chorus echo set up for that oscillation, and it's just set up on a foot switch in a momentary setting, so you can kick that on when you like. The signal chain for the HX Stomp is the Deluxe Comp. And then for the 2 drive preset, we're going into a Diana drive and then an Air Apparent. And then the Cali Texas Channel 1 into a dual 1x12 Cali 4 cab, mic'd up with an SM7 and an SM57. And then we're going into the vintage digital delay, and then the dynamic plate reverb and the simple EQ to bump the holy mid-range. On the dual delay preset, we've got the Deluxe Comp into the Air Apparent. Like I said, that's set with a fair bit of drive. It's going to give you a good lead tone. And then the Cali Texas Channel 1, and then we're going into a mod chorus, and then the vintage digital delay, the dynamic plate reverb, and the simple EQ to bump the holy mid-range. The Helix preset has all the bells and whistles, so the signal chain on that one is the Deluxe Comp into the Diana drive, then into the Air Apparent. From there, we're going into the volume pedal and splitting off into 2 Cali Texas Channel 1s, each with their own cab, set up with those same 2 mics as the HX Stomp preset. And then we're going into the mod chorus echo, then the vintage digital delay, and the dynamic plate reverb, and then the simple EQ to bump that holy mid-range. The snapshots on the HX Stomp are set up with SS1 covering the bridge, SS2 covering the chorus, and SS3 covering swells. And then I've got the foot switches set up on the dual drive setting, where foot switch 1 and 2 are both set up with the drives. And then on the dual delay, we've got foot switch 1 set up with the drive, and then foot switch 2 is set up to give you the oscillation on that mod chorus. The snapshots on the Helix are all laid out. So we have SS1, SS1 plus OD1, SS1 plus OD2, and then SS2, and that's on the front row. And then the back row has SS3, and then SS3 plus delay or oscillation. I forget exactly what I called it, but it lets you know that that's what you kick on if you want that oscillation effect. I'll be running through the preset with the Gretsch, the Custom Deluxe, and that PRS. All right, let's hear it. I love creative use of effects, and this song has the goods. Delay can be used in quite a few different ways that are outside the box. What's your favorite creative use of an effect? Let us know in the comments. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, subscribe and hit that like button for good measure. If you'd like the resources for this song, you'll find them at a link in the description box below. There are a handful of downloads free for you in there as well. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.